Here we are again. We're halfway through the original Dragon Ball. Just 3 more sagas to go. So let's not waste any more time and just dive right into it. What's up? What's going on? Welcome back to Super Saiyans. I fight for the fate of the Earth. Welcome back to way before Super Saiyans were even a thing that existed in anime, because we are once again taking a look at the OG Dragon Ball, and this time we are looking at the 4th saga of the franchise. So far, we reviewed Emperor Pilaf, the 21st Tenkaichi Budokai, and the Red Ribbon Army. Now today, join me as we take a look into the 4th saga of this series with the 22nd Tenkaichi Budokai. There's a second tournament, and it's even better than the first one, believe it or not. Why? Well, sit back, relax, grab a nice refreshing cup of coffee. Let's dive into the written review. After defeating the Red Ribbon Army, Goku searches for a way to revive Upa's father from the dead, but can't seem to find the final Dragon Ball needed to summon Shenron. With his friends by his side, he searches for answers, which leads him into the palace of fortune teller Baba, and a very bizarre tournament where the penalty for failure is death. Yeah, there's actually 2 tournaments in this saga. Then 3 years following the events of that, they all gather for another Tenkaichi Budokai, unaware of the unknown evil waiting for them in both the tournament and lurking in the shadows, waiting for the right moment to strike. Given how great the first tournament was, this second tournament saga had a lot to live up to, and it found a way to surpass it in pretty much every aspect. The threat of the Crane School raises the stakes, the fights became much more intense, the philosophical themes of redemption and seeking your own path added more purpose to the events that unfolded, the introduction of Tien and Chaozu expanded the world building, the humor is still prevalent, the writing was still strong, and the fights are some of the best in the series. Goku vs. Krillin, Jackie Chun vs. Tien, and of course Goku vs. Tien. Add on a shocking ending that is impossible to expect, and you have an outstanding saga. Its one and only flaw is its very slow start, with a big emphasis on the filler episodes that just pad out the runtime and harm the pacing. But even then, it's not a crushing flaw. After all, you're not going to hear me complain about the Dragon Ball cast fighting against their equivalent of the Universal monsters. That's literally right up my alley. I am a huge lover and fan of the OG old school Universal monster films, so having something like that in Dragon Ball makes me smile. Overall, this saga is an easy 9 out of 10. 9 out of 10. Has a slow start but gets really good once it gets going. Highly recommended. And then here's a few standout moments. Versus Krillin's versus Fangs, which is Dragon Ball's Dracula, and Krillin gets bit on the head and actually bleeds from the head. Yeah, this tournament's a little bit violent. Then Upa and Puar end up finding a way to defeat Fangs using garlic. Because he's a vampire. And you have Yamcha versus the Invisible Man, which is a pretty funny one. Which is when Goku, just for this one gag, goes all the way to Master Roshi's, brings back him and Bulma, brings them back. And then Krillin makes Bulma flash Roshi. He bleeds out his nose, and the Invisible Man is now no longer invisible because he's covered in blood. Again, it's Dragon Ball. You should not be surprised by this. But it's pretty funny. Then Roshi reveals that Bob is his sister. Then Yamcha fights Dragon Ball's mummy, and he almost dies. Then Goku fights Bandages and wins. Then he fights Spike the Devil Man, and he wins after a decently okay fight. And then Goku versus number 5. And then, in a very touching moment, arguably the most touching in all of these series up to this point, is that it turns out that number 5, the final fighter in Baba's team, is Goku's grandpa Gohan, who's been temporarily resurrected from Otherworld. And it's the first time we actually hear about Otherworld as well. So that's more world building while also being a sweet touching moment, because Goku gets to share one last moment with his grandpa. It's an adorable moment. Then Goku chases after the final Dragon Ball after Pilaf took it out of the box that somehow he made impervious to the Dragon Radar, pretty much making that whole tournament pointless but still fun. And then Goku predictably defeats Pilaf, gets the Dragon Ball, summons Shenron, and Appa is revived. Then they separate again, and then 3 years later, they all meet up for the Tenkaichi Budokai once again. Then we had some fights. We have Yamcha versus Tien, where Tien decides to show how evil the Crane School can be and breaks Yamcha's leg. But that's the most evil thing he does. Then you have Male Wolf versus Jackie Chun, which is okay. Then you have Krillin versus Chatsu, which is surprisingly is a really good fight. Goku versus Pamput is fine. It's not great. Tien versus Jackie Chun is great. And this is when Jackie actually surrenders and starts pushing Tien towards the path of good, away from his evil, despicable Master Shin. And at the same time, he also retires the Jackie Chun name. And then you have one of the best fights in the original Dragon Ball, and arguably of the series. In fact, it's the first fully animated fight of the entire show. That is Goku versus Krillin. It's as awesome as a fight as you think it is. And then you have Goku versus Tien. Another great fight. Arguably up there with some of the best of the franchise. And then, I'm not going to say who wins, and I'm not going to say the big stinger ending, but trust me, the winner's going to surprise you, and the ending of this saga is going to leave your jaw on the floor. So, yep, that's it. Thanks for watching. I'm Jad Small of Animation Station. See you next time for... See you next time for the King Piccolo saga.